We've all seen the headlines, the lottery winners who go bankrupt, the heirs of new fortunes who crash and burn in a spectacular flameout of excess and scandal. It's a story so common it has its own cautionary saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. The first generation earns it, the second enjoys it, and the third, well, they're left with nothing but old photos and regrets. But what about the families that break the cycle? Think about names like the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds, families who measure their fortunes not in years, but in centuries. How do they sidestep the fate that befell other powerful dynasties, like the Vanderbilts, whose massive Gilded Age fortune famously evaporated in just a few generations? It's not just about how much money they make, it's about how much they keep. While the newly rich often raise spoiled heirs, a cautionary tale of squandered fortunes and entitlement on full display, old money families use a secret playbook. They don't just pass down wealth, they teach responsibility, practically from the cradle. They've quietly perfected a system of psychological and practical training designed to shield their wealth from the single greatest threat it faces, a reckless heir. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on that playbook. We're revealing the hidden parenting strategies, the core values, and the unspoken rules old money families use to ensure their legacy and their fortune endures for generations. This isn't just about financial management, it's about character management, because they know that if values decay, fortune is sure to follow. Section 1. The first unspoken rule: money is a tool, not a toy. The biggest difference between old and new money parenting starts with the very first dollar a child touches. In a lot of households, money is either a taboo subject, wrapped in secrecy and anxiety, or it's a status symbol to be flashed and flaunted. Old money families reject both ideas. For them, financial literacy is a fundamental life skill, as essential as learning to read or swim. And that education starts early, woven right into the fabric of daily life. It doesn't begin with spreadsheets and stock tickers. It begins with simple, real-world lessons. Instead of an unconditional allowance, many old money kids get a commission. They're given a list of age-appropriate chores, and their pay is tied directly to getting them done. This isn't about saving a few bucks on housekeeping. It's about teaching a powerful lesson. It's the first and most crucial rule. Money is earned. It's the direct result of effort, not an entitlement that just magically appears. This simple system builds a work ethic long before a child ever has a real job. And the lessons don't stop there. Many wealthy families open bank accounts for their children at a young age, turning the abstract idea of money into something real that needs to be managed. Stories are often told of figures like John D. Rockefeller, who supposedly required his children to keep detailed ledgers, tracking every penny earned and spent. Whether that's true or not, the principle is baked into the culture. You have to account for what you have. This simple act teaches budgeting, discipline, and the consequences of your choices in a low-stakes environment. A kid who blows their whole commission on candy learns a tough lesson in scarcity when they can't afford a toy they want later. The parent doesn't need to lecture, the empty bank account does the talking. This practical education levels up with age. A young child might use a clear piggy bank with 3 slots, save, spend, give, to literally watch their money grow and learn its different purposes. A teenager might be given a small practice inheritance or a prepaid credit card with a strict budget to manage, learning about credit without the risk of real debt. They might even be invited to sit in silently on meetings with family financial advisors just to absorb the vocabulary and rhythm of wealth management. The goal is to demystify money, to strip it of its corrupting power by making it completely understood. They teach the difference between an asset and a liability with dead simple examples. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out. A rental property is an asset, a flashy sports car bought on credit is a liability. In a culture that often confuses the two, this distinction is the bedrock of building real wealth. By normalizing conversations about money, old money parents raise children who see it not as a toy for their own pleasure, but as a powerful tool to be handled with skill, discipline, and respect. Section 2. The lesson of quiet power. Wealth is silent. In our world of social media influencers and reality TV, new money often shouts. It announces its arrival with flashy cars, designer logos, and geotagged vacation pics. It's a performance of success, a constant broadcast of status. Old money, on the other hand, has mastered the art of the whisper. Their second rule is a paradox. The greatest power is quiet power. Children in these families are taught from day one that wealth is silent. Privacy is everything, and discretion is the highest virtue. Bragging is considered vulgar and a sign of insecurity. They are trained to practice what's known as stealth wealth, the art of blending in, not standing out. This isn't about shame, it's a deeply practical philosophy. They know that showing off invites risk. Attention is a currency, and they teach their kids to spend it only when it buys something truly valuable. Flashing wealth attracts scammers, lawsuits, envy, and the kind of headaches that just complicate life and compromise security.
This lesson shows up in their deliberate choices. Instead of the trendiest fashion, they invest in timeless, high-quality pieces that don't scream their price tag. That's why a grandfather's well-maintained watch is valued more than the latest diamond-covered model. For them, luxury is about craftsmanship and heritage, not logos. Vacations are for making family memories, not for creating a highlight reel for everyone else to see. The goal is to detach a child's sense of self-worth from their possessions. When your identity isn't tied to the brand of your clothes or the car you drive, you build a core of self-confidence that can't be shaken by market crashes or public opinion. This culture of silence extends to conversations. Kids are taught it's impolite to discuss money, family assets, or inheritance with outsiders. It's not about being secretive for the sake of it. It's about discipline. It teaches them to form relationships based on shared values and interests, not their financial status. It forces them to develop a personality, a sense of humor, and an intellect that is far more interesting than their bank account. There's an old saying about generational wealth. The second generation spends it, and the third just talks about it. Old money families strive to stay in Generation 1 forever, always acting like they're still quietly and diligently building, never like they've arrived. They get that true influence moves beneath the surface, through quiet networks and private actions. In a world obsessed with being seen, they cultivate the strategic power of being invisible. They raise kids who don't need to be the loudest person in the room, because they're taught that if you have to announce you're powerful, you aren't. Section 3. The structure of discipline. The power of no. For many newly wealthy parents, the greatest joy is giving their children everything they never had. They want to remove every struggle and pave a perfectly smooth path. But old money parents understand a dangerous truth. A life without struggle creates a person without strength. They know that one of the most powerful and most loving tools a parent has is the simple word no. Discipline in an old money household isn't about punishment, it's structural. It's a system of boundaries and routines that creates a predictable and secure world. Meals are at set times. Bedtimes are non-negotiable. Chores are expected to be done without nagging. This consistent structure provides a framework for a child to learn self-control. They learn that the world operates on principles and schedules, not just their own whims. This predictability doesn't crush a child's spirit. It gives them the safety to explore and grow, because they know exactly where the walls are. Within this structure, the strategic use of no is key to building character. Old money parents don't hesitate to deny requests, even when they could easily afford to say yes. That shiny new toy isn't bought on a random Tuesday. It's earned, or it's a gift for a special occasion. That impulse for instant gratification is replaced with the lesson of delayed gratification. This practice builds patience, the hidden muscle behind all long-term success. It teaches a child to tolerate frustration and to separate a want from a need. Ironically, some of the wealthiest families have stricter limits than many middle-class households, precisely because they understand the corrosive danger of having no limits. Entitlement grows where boundaries don't. This discipline extends to manners, which are seen not as an act of submission, but as an exercise in self-command. A child who learns to say please and thank you, to make eye contact, and to wait their turn to speak is practicing inner control. They are learning poise and dignity. This training prepares them for the adult world, where character is what keeps you in the room long after your credentials have gotten you through the door. New money parents can fall into the trap of trying to be their child's friend, avoiding the discomfort of enforcing rules. Old money parents understand their role is to be a loving guide, and guidance requires boundaries. They're giving their children something they themselves valued: challenge, motivation, and the chance to fail in small, manageable ways. They are raising adults who are resilient, patient, and grateful because they've experienced limits. They know that the child who has never been told no is completely unprepared for a world that will not always tell them yes. Coming up, we're diving into how old money families view wealth as a responsibility, not a right, a concept that completely changes how they raise their kids. If you're loving these hidden strategies, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We drop videos every week that uncover the mindsets of the world's most successful families.
Section 4. The Principle of Stewardship. You are a caretaker, not an owner. Perhaps the most profound mindset shift old money instills in its heirs is the principle of stewardship. While new money might see a fortune as a personal jackpot to be spent, old money views it as a legacy to be guarded. The fourth and arguably most important rule is this: you are not an owner, you are a caretaker. The family fortune, the name, the reputation, none of it belongs to you. You've simply been entrusted with it for your lifetime, and your job is to pass it on, even stronger than you found it. This lesson in stewardship starts not with money, but with humble, practical tasks. From a young age, kids are often given stewardship reps. This might be as simple as being responsible for a small garden, a pet, or even a single houseplant. The task isn't really about the plant, it's about the lesson. Life, and by extension, fortune, requires constant care. It teaches that you can't take things for granted. They have to be tended to, or they will die. As they get older, these responsibilities grow. A teenager might be tasked with tracking the household's energy use and presenting a plan to reduce it. They learn to think in terms of efficiency, preservation, and adding more value than you take. The ultimate expression of stewardship is philanthropy. In old money families, giving back isn't an afterthought, it's a core obligation. It's the old idea of noblesse oblige, the belief that wealth comes with a duty to society. Children get involved in charitable work early on. They might spend weekends volunteering at a local shelter, helping organize a coat drive, or attending fundraisers. They may even sit in on family foundation meetings, learning how to vet charities and decide where to direct funds. This practice does two critical things. First, it softens the sharp edges of privilege. By exposing children to lives different from their own, it builds empathy and grounds them in reality. It's pretty hard to feel entitled when you're face to face with genuine need. Second, it gives wealth a purpose beyond just buying more stuff. It transforms money from a source of indulgence into a tool for positive change. The family legacy becomes defined not by what they own, but by what they contribute. This is framed not as charity, but as duty. The family has been giving back for generations, and now it's their turn to carry the torch. This mindset completely changes an heir's relationship with their inheritance. They no longer see it as a personal treasure chest, but as a multi-generational enterprise that they are just temporarily leading.
This reframes their life's work from consumption to contribution, from spending to preserving. It answers that existential question that plagues so many wealthy kids: what's my purpose? By giving them a clear and noble mission to be a worthy steward. Section 5. The heirloom mindset, connecting to legacy. For many people, wealth is just a number on a screen. Old money families work hard to make it tangible, not through flashy spending, but through a deep emotional connection to the past. The fifth rule in their playbook is to foster an heirloom mindset, where objects, stories, and traditions carry the weight of legacy, constantly reminding the next generation that they are part of a long, unbroken chain. This goes way beyond just passing down expensive jewelry. An heirloom in this world is a vessel for family history and values. That scratched-up dining table isn't replaced, it's treasured as the place where generations have shared meals and made big decisions. A grandfather's watch isn't just a timepiece, it's a daily reminder of his discipline and punctuality. These items act as physical anchors to the family story. They whisper lessons of endurance, quality, and continuity in a way no lecture ever could. Investing in quality over trends is a huge part of this. They buy things designed to last for generations, embedding the very idea of long-term thinking into their home. Family history is actively curated and passed down. Children learn the stories of their ancestors, not just their successes, but their struggles, their sacrifices, and the challenges they beat. Learning about a great-grandfather who built a business during a depression, or a grandmother who held the family together through tough times, provides a profound sense of gratitude and perspective. It makes it crystal clear that today's comfort was paid for by yesterday's effort, transforming an inheritance from a lottery win into a debt of honor to those who came before.
To make this official, some families even create a family constitution or a written mission statement. This document outlines the family's core values, their code of conduct, and their collective mission for the future. It's a formal declaration that their identity is built on character, not cash. Regular family meetings are held to discuss these values and review their collective goals, turning the family into a cohesive, mission-driven team. Some families even hold symbolic heirloom ceremonies. This might involve formally passing a significant item to a younger family member, not as a gift, but as a transfer of responsibility. When a young adult receives a piece of the family business or is put in charge of a small philanthropic project, it's framed as a rite of passage. It marks their official entry into the role of steward with the full expectation that they'll one day do the same for the next generation. By constantly connecting the present to the past, these families build a powerful defense against the short-sightedness of modern life. An heir is taught to think not in terms of their own lifespan, but in terms of the family's. Every major decision is weighed against a simple question: will this honor those who came before me, and will it strengthen the legacy for those who will come after me? Section 6. The Inner Circle. The Power of Curated Mentorship. Today, kids are bombarded with influence from social media, celebrity culture, and peers who often value the superficial. Old money families get the danger of this chaotic, unfiltered environment. They fight back by deliberately building a trusted inner circle of mentors. The sixth rule is to consciously curate who shapes your child's mind and values. This inner circle is much more than just the immediate family. It's a carefully selected group of grandparents, aunts, uncles, trusted family friends, and seasoned professional advisors. These people serve as living examples of the family's values. A child doesn't just hear about integrity, they have dinner with a family friend who is a respected judge. They don't just learn about business in a classroom, they watch their parents interact with a long-standing partner who embodies fair dealing. Grandparents play a huge role here. They are the living link to the family's history and can pass down wisdom and stories of resilience that carry more weight than any parental advice. They are the keepers of the family narrative. Mentorship from family-approved professionals is also key. The family's lawyer or financial advisor aren't just names on a document. They're introduced to the kids early on. These professionals can provide technical education while also serving as objective mentors, offering guidance outside the emotional dynamics of the family. The point of this curated ecosystem of influence is to create a controlled ecosystem of influence. It ensures that the main voices shaping a child's worldview are all reinforcing the same core messages: discipline, discretion, stewardship, and long-term thinking. This is the complete opposite of letting a child's values be shaped by volatile trends and fleeting status symbols online. This network also provides a safe place for an heir to fail. A young adult starting a business might be mentored by a seasoned entrepreneur from the inner circle who can offer guidance and, more importantly, perspective when things inevitably go wrong. It creates a support system that is totally aligned with the family's long-term goals. This isn't about isolating the child from the real world. In fact, many old money families encourage their kids to spend time with peers from different backgrounds to build empathy. But they make a clear distinction between socializing and core influence. While friendships can be broad, mentorship is narrow and deliberate. By surrounding their children with quiet examples of strength, competence, and integrity, they ensure the path of responsibility isn't just taught, but is consistently demonstrated.
Section 7. The Mandate of Composure. Emotional Wealth. In a world that often mistakes outrage for passion and reactivity for strength, the final rule in the old money playbook is maybe the most subtle and the most powerful: the cultivation of composure. They understand that financial wealth is fragile if it isn't supported by emotional wealth, a deep reserve of poise, emotional regulation, and resilience. Old money kids are trained from a young age to channel their emotions, not be controlled by them. When a toddler's toy breaks or a child is frustrated, the parent doesn't immediately rush in to fix the problem. Instead, they might calmly say, "Take a moment," and encourage the child to process the feeling before deciding on a response. This happens in hundreds of small moments, quietly teaching that while your feelings are valid, your reactions are a choice. They learn to pause, breathe, and respond rather than instantly react. That is the foundation of composure. This training becomes a huge asset in adulthood. The person who doesn't flinch under pressure, who stays calm in a crisis, and who doesn't make rash decisions based on anger or fear holds an incredible advantage. This stillness is often mistaken for coldness, but it's actually a highly disciplined form of self-control. It's the ability to absorb a shock without shattering. This mandate of composure is deeply tied to the idea of quiet power. They teach that emotional outbursts are a form of weakness, a sign that you've lost control of yourself. True strength is shown through steadiness and restraint. This is reflected in their etiquette. As we said before, manners are a form of self-command. Likewise, handling a disagreement isn't about winning an argument, but about steering the conversation to a resolution without losing your dignity. They know that a reputation, like a fortune, can be destroyed in a single moment of poor judgment. Respect for solitude is another key part of this training. Kids are encouraged to spend time alone, reading, journaling, or just thinking. They're taught that being comfortable in your own company is a sign of self-mastery. The person who doesn't fear being alone isn't dependent on outside validation and is less likely to be swayed by peer pressure. Ultimately, this focus on emotional wealth is a risk management strategy. A volatile emotional heir is a liability. They make impulsive investments, get into public scandals, or destroy business relationships. An heir who is composed, deliberate, and resilient is a stable asset. By inheriting a legacy of emotional control, they are far better equipped to protect the financial one. Their confidence comes not from abundance, but from control. The strategies old money families use to raise responsible children aren't about complicated financial tricks or elite private schools. They're about something far more fundamental: the intentional, multi-generational cultivation of character. It begins by teaching that money is a tool to be earned, not a toy to be played with. It's reinforced by a culture of quiet power, where discretion is valued more than display. It's built on a foundation of discipline, where the loving power of no forges resilience and patience. These children are taught to see themselves not as owners of a fortune, but as stewards of a legacy, with a profound duty to those who came before and those who will come after. They're anchored to the past through an heirloom mindset and guided by a curated circle of mentors who model the very values they're meant to uphold. And finally, they are armed with emotional composure, a quiet stillness that lets them navigate the pressures of wealth with grace. The result is a different kind of heir, one who understands that privilege must be balanced with purpose, one who knows that wealth without wisdom is a liability, and that a family's name is its most valuable asset. And while these lessons are perfected in the world of great wealth, their wisdom is universal. The principles of earning what you have, living with discretion, embracing discipline, and seeing yourself as a steward for the next generation are a blueprint for a successful life, no matter the size of your bank account. Because the most enduring dynasties know a timeless truth: fortunes fade, trends vanish, but values, the right values, can last for generations. If you enjoyed this look into the hidden world of generational wealth, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the habits of the ultra-successful. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which of these old money principles do you think is the most important for teaching responsibility? Thanks for watching.